Hi there, I'm Joss, founder and CEO at Flexperts. We're a no-code development agency specializing in helping people build amazing things with Flutterflow. And here is our submission for the Flutterflow Imagine Apps competition. The background of this is that one of the biggest things we have is we have a lot of clients with a lot of amazing ideas from all different types of industries, but most of them have never even thought about building software before. And so knowing where to start in that process is something that is just alien to them. And so our submission for this competition is reimagining how that kind of onboarding, that project kickoff process works. And just a little teaser, we'll go kind of backwards to forwards. So this is the result that we end up with for a client. So it's an entirely automated process that the client goes through. It takes about 3 minutes, and they end up with a full project plan with an interactive demo design for their app, as well as full artboards, and then a kind of screen by screen breakdown of what the screen's for, where it navigates to, where it navigates from, what Firebase collections are involved, what the user is doing there, those kind of things. And then also a summary of the suggested Firestore collections for their version 1 of their app. And again, this is all an automated process that they can go through by themselves before we start to work together. So how it actually works here. It's very cat themed. Create a project plan and design in 3 minutes. And the way this works is we're trying to ask as few details as possible and do this in a way that is familiar to users. So let's say we want to call it, let's do fantasy football. Fantasy, not that I play football here. We'll pretend. So they get the project a name here, and we're trying to ask all these questions in a way that there's basically 3 questions. We're trying to ask them in a way that is anybody can answer, no matter what the background is. So first of all, it's what type of people use your app. So this might be, football enthusiasts, football fans. So that one's not then on our list, so that's no problem. We're just going to go ahead and add that there. And maybe it's, groups of friends. And let's say fortunes. There we go. Cool, that's enough for there. Let's keep on there. Next thing is the content, people, places, and things. So what type of things are in your app? So fantasy football, not an app I've used before, but I believe there are things like some leaderboards. There are things like matches, games. Well, we'll just add this. I guess you have rosters. Is that the right word for it? Rosters. And in the future, we want to actually improve this to make this better so that it's more adaptive. Rosters, there's going to be teams, there's going to be games. And again, we're trying to make this so that they can just think, what is actually in my app? There's probably groups. I think I already put it. Let's put it again. And then scores. Oh, players, of course. You got to pick players, right? Player. Fantastic. I think I should get enough of them. Now we're going to go on to actions and features. So essentially, this is what users actually, what can people do in your app, right? So they can create a team, I guess. Create teams. Now these are really just the verbs. As you notice, they're very straightforward. That's by design. This section can definitely be improved. They can track, I guess. View, create, update, kind of things like that. Update. I should have probably picked an example so I know more about it. That's fine. they don't know either. It's a good experiment. And look and feel. So how is this going to look and feel? Let's say it's modern. Let's say it's Schwartz. Is that a looker thing? Friendly. Fun. It's not really funny. Let's say sleep. Let's try. Okay. I think that's good enough there. And then on the final thing we're asking is, is there anything else that we should know? This is in case they have some specific integration or something that they want to talk about. We can put that there. And maybe my specific integration is I need to get live English Premier League scores by the API. And then I can choose a color, either just one of the basic ones, or I can pick a color. So let's go ahead and pick what I believe is the English Premier League color, something like that. Okie dokie. And then I want my project plan. And this is the part where the video is going to speed up. And of course, if you want to I guess I can explain actually what's happening in the background here. What's happening in the background here is we're using some AI kind of prompts and scripts and processes that we've written in the background, and it's going to auto navigate. And we've got fantasy football project plan. And so just like before, you'll see we've now got the interactive demo. And I don't know if I'll call this sleek. And that's going to help the client just really visualize like what their top fantasy football floor stairs. And if we go down to the project overview, this is we'll expand this more later with some information for them, for people who don't obviously know what what a database is, what we're going to be using to build their app. We've obviously got a showcase, all the artboards, all the screens, and again, as I said, a screen by screen representation of the app, including kind of what they would, group creation page, what are the kind of Firebase collections that are going to be involved in a group join page. So it's a query to join a group, blah, blah, blah. Again, this isn't supposed to be 100%, but it's supposed to just help somebody who's never built an app before to really start to use Flutterflow and to have some idea of where to go. And then, most importantly, probably in the database section, we've got some examples of what the collections they would need. And this is pretty comprehensive, including kind of what field types, if it's a list, if it's a document reference, list of players right here, fantasy teams, and so on. So that is our reimagined onboarding process. See you next time.